Welcome back to Normal Baseball. Today we are continuing our 2023 Will Be series. Today we have the Detroit Tigers. Let's talk about it. What's going on? Welcome back to yet another episode of Normal Baseball. Today we are continuing our 2023 Will Be series, which is basically our team projection series. Today, like Lewis is showing, we are doing the Detroit Tigers. We did projections for each team based on 7 different statistics. We rated them out of 10. We have lineup, bench, defense, rotation, bullpen, coaching, and energy. And the Detroit Tigers came out to be the 27th best team in baseball, so towards the bottom, and the 14th best team in the American League, 14 out of 15. And today we're going to be talking about them. We're going to be just kind of outlining everything, saying how we think they'll be this season. So let's get into it. Let's do it.
Let's jump right in. Okay, anyways.
That was horrible. Yeah, the Detroit Tigers, obviously not an amazing team. Did not play great last season either. Last season, they had just a mere 66 wins with 96 losses. And not a fun team to watch, I can imagine, for the fans. This season coming up, is Miguel Cabrera's final season. After this, he will be retiring, so it's going to be almost a retirement tour for Miggy all season.
Yeah, well-deserved one.
Well-deserved. Last year, this team might have went 96 losses, but they played decent against teams in their division, which we will talk about later. Not a single month last year did they have a record over 500. They were so close in October and September. They had a 500 record in both those months, but just missed. They made a couple moves on the offseason, which we will talk about as well. So let's get right into it. We'll start with their lineup. Out of 10, we rated this lineup 5.9, which... yeah, I mean, it makes sense to me.
Is it weird for me to say that it looks about right?
I don't think it's weird. So let's go through their lineup. This is the Fangraphs projected lineup for the Tigers this season. That's what we're basing off of. We have Austin Meadows in right field, Javier Baez at shortstop, Riley Green in center field, Jonathan Schoop at second, DHing Kerry Carpenter, catching Eric Haas, third base, Nick Maton, Spencer Torkelson at first base, and Akil Baddoo in left field. What do we think? I mean, personally, my highlight of this lineup is the young guys that are Riley Green and Spencer Torkelson. What's your favorite part of this lineup? What are you looking forward to? What's kind of your reasoning for the score we gave them?
No, I agree with you. I think, like you said, the exciting parts are going to be the young guys in Spencer Torkelson and Riley Green. Definitely one thing that I think we should just jump into right now. I think that Javier Baez will have a very, very good bounce-back season, considering he played really bad last year. Like, unbelievably bad. And I think that this upcoming season we will see him improve and get better, because I don't think Javi is on this trajectory of going downhill so fast. I think that he's got plenty more left in him, and I think that this upcoming season will be a very big bounce-back year for him.
Yeah, I mean, just very out of character season for Javi Baez. If you don't count 2020, the COVID season, a 671 OPS in 144 games, 17 homers, 27 doubles. Not a great season whatsoever, considering he's Javi Baez. I agree. I would like to see him step up and be a little better this season. Get back to his, 800 OPS self. Drive in a lot of runs, as many runs as possible, and just help this team win as much as they possibly can. I do think that is pretty detrimental to them at least doing decent this season. Not that I think they're going to do too decent no matter what. More of just doing something this season. I think Javi Baez has to get back on track, and I want to agree with you fully that he will not just keep going on a downward trajectory, but we'll see. Hopefully it was just a down year, which all signs point to it, because in the second half of 2021, he batted almost 300 in the last 47 games of 2021. So he's got the capability. I think it's just more of the first season in Detroit.
The will he?
Yeah. First season in Detroit. You got to get used to it.
On the will be episodes, we'll always talk about the will he do it.
The will he on the will be.
Yep, the will he on the wee bit.
Wow.
Anyways.
Wow.
But, yeah, definitely hope that he has a bounce back season. And Riley Green and Spencer Torkelson, young guys. I mean, Torque, first overall pick just a couple years back now. In 2020, he was the first overall pick by the Tigers. Riley Green, the 5th overall pick by the Tigers in 2019. So they have something to live up to, and I think that they will. I think that their first season, I believe Riley Green debuted last season as well as Spencer Torkelson. I think their first season did not go as planned, and I think that they're going to start to right the ship, turn it around, and get back on track a little bit.
Do you think them getting back on track a little bit means that they'll exceed expectations, like as a team?
The Tigers, as a team, I'm going to say no.
Because we have them as the 27th best team in baseball. So.
I'm only going to say no because I think that there's more bad than good on this team, which is upsetting to say because this team, this is another one of the organizations at the bottom that should be trying to improve their team. They've been in this rebuild phase for a few years now, 5 or 6, honestly. Like, years they've been in this rebuild phase, and they still have one of the worst farm systems in baseball, and they really don't have anything to compete at the major league level just yet. It doesn't make sense, and I'm hoping that the Tigers can open their eyes and see that they need to start doing stuff.
Yeah, I'm hoping they could be a little better than I guess people want, like people think they can be. Mm-hmm. I mean, they do have some exciting guys that I'm kind of looking forward to watching. Akil Baddoo, Spencer Torkelson. I'm excited for Akil Baddoo, but how could you not be excited for Akil Baddoo after his first couple seasons? He kind of did a lot of stuff that a lot of people were happy about.
Yeah.
Eric Haas. I like Eric Haas, especially as a catcher. And then you got guys like Austin Meadows who are just like, they exist, and you kind of forget they exist sometimes, which no disrespect meant at all. But just sometimes you're like, yeah, he's on that team, and he can be a good player when he's right. So I think this team, I'm not going to be surprised when they win games against maybe a little better teams than them. But their lineup certainly isn't the worst part of their team.
Agreed. I definitely think that there is a bright spot. Their lineup has bright spots, but also very dull spots.
Very dull spots.
And that's not even us talking about Austin Meadows, who I think is also going to be completely fine. I think he's going to be a very good, above average player for the Tigers. Just they have a few guys that should be above average in Austin Meadows and Javi Baez. They have a couple of rookies in Riley Green and Spencer Torkelson, along with, Akil Baddoo we can throw in there because he's still young, but everybody else kind of, they need to improve a lot.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how the young guys play. I mean, Spencer Torkelson last year played 110 games, and I want to say underperformed what people thought he was going to do. He batted .203 with a 600 OPS. Well underperformed. Had 8 home runs all year. I'm interested to see if he can pick it up again.
I think he will.
I hope he will. As well as Riley Green, who played 93 games last year with a .250 batting average, but a .682 OPS isn't really what they're looking for.
Yeah. Well, you have to also remember that this is Riley Green, center fielder. Riley Green does not have that much power, but they are bringing in the walls at Comerica Ballpark this upcoming season.
They brought
it in
by
about, I think, 20 feet. I think. It's like about that. I know that center field got brought in 20 feet for sure. I don't know where the rest of it is going. But I would assume it's probably going to be all the same because I do want to keep the dimensions of that ballpark because it does make it interesting. Having the cutout in right center field and the short wall out in left field. It's a very interesting and fun ballpark to
I don't think that
watch.
exists anymore.
What? The short wall?
Yeah. Not short wall.
The cutout. You don't think that they're gonna have that little trapezoid cutout?
I don't think so anymore. I think that's what they did.
That's upsetting.
I think that's what they changed. Don't fully take my word for it, but like you said, they definitely moved the fences in and lowered them. So we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
It's just this lineup is just hard to look at sometimes. They did lose a couple guys to free agency this offseason from their lineup. And they also got a couple guys. The two guys they got from, rather, the one guy we'll say right now that they got from the Phillies trade when they traded Gregory Soto to the Phillies, which we'll talk about more later.
Right.
They bring in Nick Maton, who isn't anything too special, but he's also not bad.
Agreed.
I like it. They certainly wanted to get rid of Soto. I think they could have gotten a lot more. I just think they kind of wanted to just get him out as quick as possible. Nick Maton played 35 games last season, but had a 135 WRC plus. So, yeah, Nick Maton.
He does exist. He is a baseball player.
And like I was saying, the people they lost pretty much everyone.
Yeah.
Everyone that was a free agent in their lineup, it left, which is not a lot of people, but like Victor Reyes left. He's a White Sox on a minor league deal. Tucker Barnhart went to the Cubs on a 2-year deal.
Yeah.
Harold Castro is a non-roster invitee for the Rockies. Jeimer Candelario, 1-year deal with the Nationals. And Willie Castro is in a minor league contract with the Twins. So they lost everyone in their lineup, but I feel like they also weren't trying to get anyone.
Yeah, they're still trying to cut salary for some unknown reason, which is, it's weird, but I mean, Tigers, you do you.
I don't think they're trying to cut salary. I think they just didn't want them back.
Yeah, that too.
I don't think it had anything to do with salary, personally.
Well, I don't know. Some of these guys you would probably want back. Tucker Barnhart, I think, a very underrated catcher. Andrew Chafin, good bullpen reliever.
Tucker Barnhart is making $3 million this year. If they wanted him back, they would have given him $3 million. I don't think that has anything to do with it. I think they just didn't even try. I think they just said, we'll let our young guys, we'll let the team we have roll out this season, see what they can do. I think that's more of what it is. Their team hitting last year, they were last in homers, last in runs, 29th in on-base percentage, 29th in OPS.
Yeah, they were bad.
Bad.
They were very bad.
28th in steals, so they weren't even running when they got on. Just not great whatsoever.
Agreed.
So that's their lineup. That's who they lost. That's who they got. Let's take a look at their bench now. Their bench, we gave them a 6.2 out of 10 on their bench, which so far, out of the teams we've done, the 3 other teams, this is the highest so far. On their bench, they have Jake Rogers, catcher, 27 years old, almost 28. Miguel Cabrera, obviously, final season in Miggy. Tyler Nevin, who is Phil Nevin's son, an infielder, outfielder, kind of utility guy. And Matt Vierling, who is the other guy they got from the Phillies in the Gregory Soto trade, which do I think was a good trade? No.
I don't know.
I don't think the Gregory Soto trade was a good one for them. They get rid of their best pitcher, I'd say. Best pitcher in general. He was an all-star. He was a very good closer last year. And they bring in, yes, Nick Maton, who was good in the small sample size we've seen so far from him in the majors. And Matt Vierling, who also has been pretty good from what we've seen so far from him in the majors.
He's been he's been more than serviceable, but not like, you can't call him the everyday starter yet. You know, like he needs another, maybe half a season, maybe more, depending on how well he does to develop fully. Then we can really start saying, slot him in and let him play left field every day or right field. Like find somewhere to put Matt Vierling because he has the ability to do it.
I found this on the web.
She found that on the web.
My bad. Yeah, no, I'm excited. I'm excited to see how Nick Maton and Matt Vierling play out this year. Like you said, Matt Vierling could be a starter by the end of the season. Depends on how he plays, and honestly depends on how others play too. He probably will be splitting time. Like, he's not going to just be a bench guy. He will be starting a good amount of games, but we'll see if he can prove himself in those games that he does start. Same thing with Nick Maton. I don't think he'll be starting every day, but he can definitely prove himself to be someone that should start every day.
This bench, the bench, I think, is very much of, besides obviously Miguel Cabrera, I think that it's pretty clear that he's probably going to DH more than anything this upcoming season. But as for the other three guys on the bench, they got to make the most of their playing time because they should have the ability to become starters, which I think all three of them could be quite easily. So I think that they just need to make the most of their playing time and show to either the Tigers or another organization that might need to fill in a gap that they can do that.
Yeah, I think Miggy is going to be the DH.
Yeah.
And I agree that these guys are going to have to prove themselves because Miggy has nothing to prove. Miggy is going to be having a fun season this year.
Yeah.
He's hit his 3,000 hits. He's gotten to 500 home runs. Like, he's hit his milestones that he was close to. I'm not necessarily sure if he's. Let's see if he's close to any other
big milestones. Let's
like whole number. So hits, he's at 3,088. He can hit 3,100. Home runs 507. He's not really close to anything. Doubles, he already has 600. RBIs, he's at 1,847. So 1,900 is possible, depending on how much he plays and how well he plays. He actually put together a not horrible season last year, but that's besides the point. Batting average is sitting at 308. I don't think there's any way he's going to get below a 300 average for his career. I don't think so. He's not going to bat. I think even if he bats 200, I feel like his average might still be above 300.
I don't know. I don't know the math on it just yet.
Neither do I. But even if he bats 250 again, he'll be fine. So, and a 908 OPS, that might take a hit. Over a 900 OPS career would be pretty nice on the resume. So, that's what Miguel Cabrera is close to. Yeah. So, that's kind of my thoughts on the bench. It's a pretty good bench considering who's on it and how much they actually will be playing and how much they have to prove. So, would we give it a 6.2?
6.2.
Did we?
Yes, we did.
6.2 out of 10. Moving on, we have their defense. We gave their defense a 6.8 out of 10. Highest so far, once again. And what's the reasoning on that, Lewis?
I definitely have to say that Riley Green is a big reason behind it. He plays very, very above average center field. It's a lot of ground to cover out there, and he does a pretty damn good job at doing it. Javier Baez at short, he is. Oh, excuse me. He obviously has the range and ability, the arm to play at shortstop and do it well. Austin Meadows in right field is solid. That's very good. And one thing that I think is flying under the radar is, although Spencer Torkelson did not have a very good bat last season in the majors, his defense, young kid playing first base, he is athletic and he is good at it. So I definitely have to say that he is also part of the whole defensive scheme when it comes to the Tigers.
Okay. I don't have much of a view on their defense. I can't say I'm well versed in their defense. I know Riley Green has said to have good defense, and I believe that Javi Baez has good defense. So I think they're a pretty good defensive team. Nothing to kind of bat your eye against and be like, wow, that's a really bad defensive team.
Yeah.
So,
and hey, the substitutions of Tyler Nevin and Matt Verling, if needed be, defensive substitutions, which sounds crazy. I don't think that the Tigers are going to be doing that, but if they did, those are another two great serviceable guys for defense in both the infield or the outfield.
Yeah. That's our defense perspective on the Tigers. Moving along quickly, we talked about their lineup for a very long time. Their rotation, we had them at a 5 out of 10. Rotation is Eduardo Rodriguez, who they acquired a couple of years ago, Matthew Boyd, Michael Lorenzen, Matt Manning, and Spencer Turnbull. Two guys, Tariq Skubal and Casey Mize, two starters, young starters, both had surgeries. One had, I believe, Skubal's was last year, August of last year, and Casey Mize had Tommy John in June of last year. So we might not see them back immediately when the season starts, but we'll see what happens there. We have it at a 5. It's like the names are there, but it's nothing
to write home about.
Crazy. Yeah, Eduardo Rodriguez is certainly a good part of that line rotation. He brings it up a lot. So
yeah,
I also think Lorenzen.
Mm-hmm.
Do we think
That's what I
he's
was
gonna
just
be
saying.
a two-way player this year?
Yeah. I don't think he'll be a Shohei Ohtani two-way player. Like, I don't think that we're going to see him, pitch the third day of the season and then come up to DH the next 5 days. But I think if they needed it, he could definitely be a DH or an outfielder, honestly, because he has the tools to do that. Eduardo Rodriguez, another, like Alex mentioned, he brings up the rating of their rotation just because he is good. He's going into his age 30 season. I do think that he will be a very good player, good pitcher, I should say, moving forward. And another guy that I think that we should really touch on a little bit, Matthew Boyd flew under the radar when it comes to signings. Signed with the Tigers from the Mariners, and I think that there's no reason as to why he won't be as good as he was last year. Not to say that he was out of this world amazing, but I think that he was very good and will fit nicely into an otherwise disappointing Tigers team.
Yeah, I will say I feel like this rotation we might have put it a little too low. I think more of like a 5-8 or something around there would have been better, but at the same time, these guys can be good, but these guys can also be very bad. So there's flip sides of both. Eduardo Rodriguez is kind of the one guy who you're like, yeah, this guy's probably going to go out and give me a quality start every time he goes out.
And that's barring that he stays with the team. Last year, there was a whole big controversy thing because he had left the team for personal reasons. And to anyone who got on his back about that, don't do that. Like, it apparently was some really bad stuff that I don't think that we should talk about here. But definitely, people have lives besides playing baseball. I just hope that Eduardo Rodriguez can stay with the team, stay on the field, and have a good season.
I agree.
Yeah.
Let's see Eduardo Rodriguez have a good season this year. Yeah, so that's their rotation. Like I said, we gave it a 5 out of 10. Could have been a little low, but their bullpen is even lower.
You want to talk about low.
Their bullpen, we gave them a 3.9 out of 10. Low, like we said, very, very low.
I don't even know. I can't even say too much about their
The
bullpen.
only guy in this
know.
bullpen I know is Tyler Alexander because of the one time he struck out like 9 guys in a row. That's about it.
Tyler Alexander.
Chasen Shreve is a non-roster invitee. I know that name as well. Former Yankee.
All-timer.
And yeah, no, nothing crazy. Nothing.
It's
a 3.9 bullpen.
Very below average.
It's a 3.9 bullpen. That's really all that has to be said.
Yep.
Alex Lang, I feel like I recognize that name. Do I know if he's good? No, not at all.
Don't know
do
a
I
single
think
name.
he's good? Maybe. Let's
Anyways.
take a look. Alex Lang. Last season he pitched in 71 games. Kind of crazy.
Holy shit.
A 3.41 ERA, so not bad. But I still think 3.9 was the right pick there. Coaching. AJ Hinch
AJ Hinch.
and the boys. We gave it a 6 out of 10.
Yes, we did.
Mostly carried by AJ Hinch, I'd say.
Yeah, another situation where AJ Hinch is a great manager. Just another bottom of the barrel team that does not have the utilities to allow AJ Hinch to show his baseball knowledge.
I agree.
That cut and dry. Well said. Well said. Thank you. Let's go Tigers.
And then for their energy, we gave them a 6.1, which has been the highest so far. We think these guys will go out. We think they'll put on a decently good show.
Is it fair to say that that's carried a little bit by Javier Baez? Because Baez brings a lot of energy in every pitch, every play. Even though,
No.
So what he strikes out, when he has his moments, he cranks it all
no, I
the
agree.
way up.
I agree. I just don't think that it's carried by him. I think you got guys like Akil Baddoo, who shows just as much energy as the next guy. Riley Green. There's a couple of young guys. I think Javi is probably the guy who shows the most energy, if you're looking at it like that. But
Yeah. That's the way that I look at it. It'll be fun. Fun to watch, like Alex mentioned, the highest energy of any team that we have given, out of any rating that we've given so far for energy when it comes to the other teams before the Tigers. So I'm looking forward to seeing how they plan out. And for anyone at home who's doing the math, the total that we got for the Detroit Tigers is a 39.9 out of 70, which puts them very evenly at the 27th spot in our power rankings.
27th best team in baseball, 14th best team in the American League is where we have the Detroit Tigers.
Yes, sir.
Now we're going to go through their team MVP for both their hitters and their pitchers, who we think. Team MVP hitter, who do you think?
I'm going to go with Austin Meadows. I think Austin Meadows is going to be the most consistent bat across the lineup of the Detroit Tigers. I think no matter what happens with slumping Javier Baez or Riley Green or Spencer Torkelson not being able to find, their spot and find the pitch that they're looking for, I think that Austin Meadows is a good ball player who will be more consistent than anybody else on the lineup, which is why I would say that he's going to be the MVP.
So consistency is kind of what you're basing it on.
Mm-hmm.
I
For
think
this one, not every single one.
Well, yeah. I think I'm going to go with Javi Baez just because he's the star of the team. He needs to play like it. And like we said we think he's going to have a bounce back year of some sort. Maybe not to the craziest extent. I sure hope he does not keep regressing because that would be not fun for him or the Tigers.
Or for us as baseball fans.
Or for baseball fans, yeah. But I think it's going to have to be him if he wants to prove himself as still a good player in this league.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go with Javi Baez. He did have the highest WAR on the Tigers last year, even though it was a measly 2.5,
right?
I believe.
2.5 B.
Yeah, 2.5 WAR was the highest on the Tigers, which is crazy. But I think it'll be Javi Baez.
Yeah.
And
okay.
now, pitcher, MVP pitcher, go.
I'm going to go with Michael Lorenzen. I think he's going to be the one to shock the world. I think he'll be another just good arm that will see the Tigers trade away.
Okay. I'm going to go with Alex Lang. Lang. However you say it. Bullpen.
Bullpen.
Prove me wrong, Tigers bullpen.
Might as well.
Their bullpen had the 8th best ERA in baseball last season.
Yeah.
However, they did lose Andrew Chafin, Willie Peralta,
Gregory Soto.
Gregory Soto, obviously, Daniel Norris, Kyle Funkhauser.
They lost all the guys that gave him.
They lost the guys
best.
that gave them the
Yeah.
8th best bullpen.
Yep.
So, but I don't know. Alex Lang, I'm rooting for you this season. So
That's fair. That's fair. And last thing is prospects.
yeah, give us your rookie report, Lewis.
Yeah. So for the Tigers, I think there's nobody really in the top 100 MLB prospects that is worth looking at, just because they are still young. If I were to pick anybody that you should have your eye on for this upcoming season, hopefully he gets called up early, because based on his numbers, it looks like he should. The 25th ranked in the Detroit Tigers system, Joey Wentz. He's a 25-year-old left-handed pitcher. I think he does a little bit of relief, a little bit of starting, but that's just because he's in the minor leagues. He had a 3.04 ERA last year and just looked good. He did have a little bit of a short season because he did spend time in between both AA and AAA, and it is expected that he will be on the Major League roster come opening day or hopefully soon thereafter. A 114 whip, which pretty good, 57 strikeouts, and he had a batting average against of 204, so just nearly under 200. All in all, I think Joey Wentz is going to be the guy that you want to look out for.
Okay, fair. Nice.
Yeah.
So now I'm going to say the 2023 Tigers will be, and you'll tell me what place the 2023 Detroit Tigers will be in. So, Lewis, the 2023 Detroit Tigers will be in
4th place.
Fourth?
In the American League Central.
4th place in the AL Central. Okay. I want to say I'm going to say
Alex, the 2023 Detroit Tigers will be in
5th place.
No, he said 5th place.
All right,
He said 5th place.
I'll stick with 5th place.
Pen to paper it.
I think it is a depends on how you look at it, but yeah, could go either way. So
All right,
we'll stick
all
with
right.
that.
That's fair.
We thank you guys for watching.
Yep.
Make sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, follow the podcast, share with your friends, comment.
Go Tigers!
And yeah,
Go Tigers!
we forgot to say this in the other couple episodes. Let's go Tigers.
Let's go Tigers!
Not specifically let's go. Yeah, let's go Tigers.
Go Tigers!
Let's go Tigers.
Let's go Tigers!
Alex, the Lion.
Go Tigers!
Okay,
Continue.
yeah.